And Jen, yeah, I don't have a screen or a mic. Just saying.
I know.
But am I just getting all the junk stuff? I have no idea. I tried that. Sure, I'll share with Rocky.
Pull that one up.
Yeah.
How far are these people?
I'm not going to do any talking today.
That's about as far as it goes.
Doesn't matter. I'm all set up here.
Tell me when we're ready. Okay. Call a meeting to order. First item on our agenda is additions or deletions to the agenda. Councillor Sobel, do you have?
I have nothing, Your Worship.
Deputy Mayor Blokel?
I have nothing, Your Worship.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Graychuk?
Just, Your Worship, I would like to inform the public that there's many questions around the community about the fire issue. Just that we're continuing to working on it and trying to resolve the fire issue.
Okay. Did you want to put that on the item? Or
no,
is that
I hope that's recorded right now.
Okay. Thank you. Councillor Fuel?
Just two quick ones, Your Worship. One question that deals with graffiti and one that deals with the town electronic sign.
And where did you want to put that?
I guess new business.
Questions?
Or questions between
Okay.
councillors to administration.
Okay, good. Councillor Peterson?
Your Worship, does everyone in the gallery have our new business 8.11 and 8.12? They do.
And I have nothing. Administration?
Your Worship, we have two add-on items, 8.11 Lakeside 4th Avenue Project Storm Sewer Scope Change Report, and 8.12 Seniors Advisory Committee appointments.
Okay, thank you. I'll entertain a motion to accept the agenda as amended.
As a move.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. All in favor? And carried. The next item on our agenda is adoption of the minutes of May 6th regular council meeting.
So move, Your Worship.
You have a motion to accept the minutes. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? And carried. First item on our agenda is a delegation for Strathmore 2015 Alberta 55 Plus Summer Games Society. And Mr. Dean, how are you tonight?
Here I am again.
Welcome.
Stand.
If you wish, yes.
Thank you. We would just like to report to council on the progress of the games. We're less than 60 days out. I think somebody said 52 or something today. So it's coming quickly. We have 3 fundraising events that are happening between now and then. We have another golf tournament. So if you haven't golfed for a while and you want to get warmed up for the season, come and join us on May the 30th here in Strathmore. It's a 2 o'clock tee-off time with what do you call it?
Shotgun start.
Yeah, shotgun start. We are also bringing in a group from LA who are going to do a Beatles tribute concert on June the 20th. The word is that they're an amazing group. People have seen them in Las Vegas and thought it was a great show. So we would invite you to, if you haven't joined us in any of our other fundraising events, we would love to see you at this event. Tickets are on sale at the games office. And the third event, cramming it all in before the games, is a casino that we have been given June the 30th and July 1st. So if you have nothing to do and would like to come and help us run a casino, you're more than welcome. We are offering clinics to the community to introduce 55 games plus games that will be held during the games that are not typically played in Strathmore. So if you didn't know how to play pickleball, there are sessions where you can go and learn how to play pickleball. And there is a schedule that is available. There's floor shuffleboard on June the 1st from 1:30 to 3:30 and bocce from 10 till 12. And they're playing pickleball on Fridays at Westmount School, I think. So lots of things are happening to help the public at large become more familiar with the events that we are hosting in July. We are also hosting a lot of the zone playoffs so that we can actually test out our resources to make sure that they're going to be able to manage the crowds that we're going to have in the summer. And so there's a schedule attached to the notes that I gave you. May the 16th, swimming zone playoffs, floor shuffleboard on the 27th, 8-ball pool on the 29th, pickleball on the 31st, and then in June, there's tennis, bocce, golf, and slow pitch. So there's lots of opportunity for the community to participate and enter the zone playoffs, so hopefully we can have lots of representation from our community and zone in the games this summer. Generally, just more information for your perusal, things that are happening during the games. We have opening ceremonies, a Drew Gregory concert, and these will be open to the public. We will also have a health and wellness trade fair open to the public, and the cultural and fine arts display will be an exhibition that's open to the public. And this information will be all published in a publication that'll be in the Standard, I think, no, the Strathmore Times, a couple of weeks before the games. We are still working at fundraising. We had a goal of 1.3 million. Our grand total at this point is just a little over $1 million. So we are inching our way closer to where we need to be. We will be having a finance focus at our next board meeting on Monday, looking at everybody's proposed budgets and the wish needs and wants lists and how they might have to adjust them as we haven't reached the total goal of our plans for fundraising. There is an itemized attached document with the revenues, gifts in kind, and the description. So if you have any questions in that regard. And the last appendix gives you a list of all the workshops that we have running for the months of May and June up until the games come on. Any questions that I can answer?
Councillor Peterson?
Thank you. What an amazing report.
It's been
Wonderful.
exciting. It really has been an exciting project to be a part of.
Really
We're
appreciate
still looking for volunteers. We have over 350 people have volunteered. Our goal is to have about 700, and from past games, the experiences of many people didn't want to commit until they were closer to the deadline, and so we're still certainly open to many people to volunteer. We are particularly looking for billets because we would prefer to keep everybody in town, and right now we've had to book accommodation in Calgary, and we have to transport people back and forth. But we can reduce that if we can get more people to volunteer. So they can do that by going online. And we just would really invite and encourage you as counselors to be involved those 4 days of the event. There's lots of opportunities for you to present medals, to be in the audience, watching as a spectator. We have VIP reception that you have all been invited to. You're invited to the open house kickstart for the fine arts exhibition, and you'll be receiving more details about that. And of course, the kickoff for the whole event is the torch relay that's sponsored by APCO that will happen on the Thursday morning. And your presence is welcome at any and all of those events.
Nothing further?
Just
No.
please don't take the tasers out of my security budget, okay?
On your torch relay.
Yeah.
Yeah, are you looking for volunteers that might want to carry the torch?
We are.
Pardon?
We are,
You are?
yes.
Okay.
So
They're looking for volunteers to carry the torch.
We are definitely doing that. We have some people who have volunteered. We're trying to get all age groups of people represented. And the relay will go around town, but it will also go by the Seniors Lodge in Lambert Village and Sunset Haven and Gifford Manor and out by Sagewood. And so we're going to try and involve residents from those facilities in the torch relay as well.
What's the distance that they would have to walk?
Well, we would even be prepared to put a person in a wheelchair if they couldn't walk and have somebody else push them. But the more torchbearers, of course, we have, the shorter the distance you'd have to walk. So Kathy and Larry Tucker are involved in organizing the torch relay, and I'm sure they welcome offers to be torchbearers.
No further questions? thank you very much
Thank you.
for
We
the
look
work
forward
that
to
you've
seeing
done,
you in the
and boy, are we getting excited. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Your Worship, I move that we accept the report from the plus 55
Has information.
as information.
Good. We have a motion on the floor. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next item on our agenda is medical first response, and Mr. Al.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate your time. And ladies and gentlemen, and Steve, if you decide to run, we do have some medical protocols that should feel secure and.
I did volunteer to walk.
Oh, walk. Let me clarify. All right, well, thank you very much. I was asked to come to council to provide an update on the medical response that I came to council with a number of months ago seeking medical direction from Alberta Health Services. And I wanted to provide you with an update as to where we are and how we've progressed and to allow council any opportunities for questions. So since we got council's blessing to seek medical direction from Alberta Health Services, gone ahead and put all the paperwork in place. It's required us to provide registration of the Strathmore Fire Department with Alberta Health Services to provide medical first response in the town of Strathmore. There's a number of procedural things we have to go through, setting our boundaries for our response. There's also what type of calls we're going to respond to. That was all done. So as part of the process, I actually had a number of meetings with Rob Woody from Woodemsa to make sure we were aligned on what we're putting together for the protection of the citizens and visitors of Strathmore. And that has gone now to Alberta Health Services. As of today, they have accepted everything that we have submitted. So we're now in a position that we're going to be offering medical first response when an EMS unit is not available in the town of Strathmore. So that has come with boundaries, some protocols in place for the fire department, as well as some guidelines that we put in place that Mr. Stanford has signed off on. So I wanted to thank the town for allowing us the opportunity to go ahead and pursue that, to put that process in place for the residents of Strathmore, as well as the visitors to this community. Now, a couple of things I do want to highlight just for council's information. One of the things that was a bit of a contentious issue to start with is what type of calls does the town of Strathmore Fire Department go to? And if you remember my presentation to council, our intention was not to replace the ambulance service in town. We have a Class A ambulance service with 3 full-time staffed ambulances. We're not there to chase an ambulance to a medical call. We're there to provide a service when they are not available due to call volumes, etc. So that is what we've put in place. We have a timed response if an EMS unit is not available in the town of Strathmore. The number that we've come up with is a 15-minute response. And I want to explain that because you may get questioned as a counselor why that 15 minutes is put in play. Okay. So when a call comes in through their dispatch system at Alberta Health Services, they can see which is the nearest resource. If there is no ambulance available within the 15-minute response protocol, they will send out the fire department to any calls within the town of Strathmore. That 15-minute was derived based on our muster time. And I'm sure you're aware through the numerous discussions over the last little while about the volunteer service and what that takes. On average, it takes us anywhere between 7 to 10 minutes to muster to the fire hall for a call. Then anywhere to get to in town, you're looking at 12, 14 minutes to get to a call. We don't want to be racing an ambulance to a medical call, right? If they're coming from Calgary and we're coming from the fire hall, we don't want a collision going to help somebody. So we've come up with that 15-minute as a guideline, if you will. That can be adjusted based on operational needs. So if we're finding that there's too much of a delay, I'll go back to Woodemsa, we'll have further discussions and we can arrange that with Alberta Health Services. There are also a few calls that we get automatically dispatched to, which isn't really a change from our common procedure. Motor vehicle accidents, electrocutions, burns, building collapses, automatically dispatch out the fire. I know that was one of the concerns about getting involved with this program is the increased call volume and the operational stress it would put on the fire department. I did some stats this morning, and as of January 1st, we have responded to 6 medical calls. 4 of those were as a medical first response, 2 of those were at the request of EMS to assist. So overall, it's representing, at this point in time, about 6% of the call volume. So nothing drastic, nothing out of the norm. Okay. The one thing we did negotiate as well with Alberta Health Services is anytime we're needed, as before, they can call us. So if EMS only has 1 unit and they need another set of hands, they can call us for backup. So as of right now, we've been accepted, registered with Alberta Health Services. We're just waiting for someone to come out and finalize the process. So that's the process in a nutshell, and we're very happy that we're in this position based on where we were previously, and we think we're going to provide a better service to the residents of Strathmore with this service in place. I'll entertain any questions. Or
Councillor
Just
Silver?
for clarification, Madison, thank you for all that information. It's great. You're not extending to transport of patients, are you?
That's correct.
I just
We're
wanna
not an
confirm that.
ambulance service. This is done according to the fire bylaw that's already in place. We're there to provide medical aid until the arrival of an ambulance.
Thank you.
Right, and actually the protocols are put in place at what level we provide that to. Our minimum level of training is standard CPR, first aid, standard first aid and health saver CPR. That's our minimum level of standard.
Okay.
We have certain individuals on the fire department that are trained to a higher level. If those individuals are on the truck, they are able to perform to that higher level. We as a municipality can't guarantee that because we're a volunteer service. We don't know who's coming based on, who's in town or of such. So we guarantee to a minimum standard first aid level. But yes, we're not transporting patients.
Perfect, thank you.
We're not in competition with Woodhampton.
It would be impossible to compete with Woodhampton.
Absolutely. As I said, they're a Class A service.
Congratulations, congratulations on doing this and much appreciated. I think it's a wonderful service to our community. It's good to have it.
Yeah, it's nice to have that resource for the residents of Strathmore.
It's good for us to have your reserve.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Deputy Mayor Boakland?
Thank you. Strathmore just got to be a better place to live in, I believe. We have an excellent ambulance service. We always have had. You guys have an excellent fire department service, and this just enhances the whole thing that much more. Thanks, Baz.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Baz.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate it, and
Thank you, Mayor.
on behalf of our community, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Somebody want to make a motion to accept that as information?
So moved, Your Worship.
Okay, we have a motion to accept as information. All in favor? And carried. Thank you. Next item is land use bylaw amendment 1511, Wildflower Phase 2D.
Worship, I move the council give first reading to bylaw number 15-11.
We have a motion on the floor to give first reading to bylaw 1511. All in favor? Carried.
And your worship, I would move the council hold a public hearing for bylaw number 15-11 on June 17th, 2015.
We have a motion in regards to the public hearing on June 17th. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next is land use bylaw amendment 1510, RV and mini storage.
Your Worship, I'm going to accuse myself on this matter because we're a possible conflict of interest.
Thank you very much.
Your Worship, I move the council give first reading to bylaw number 15-10.
It says 15 dash, am I looking on the wrong page? Just hold on a second. Yes, I am. Bear with me. Okay, good. We have a motion for first reading on bylaw 15-10. All in favor? Carried. And
Your worship, I would move the council hold a public hearing for bylaw number 15-10 on June 17th, 2015.
we have a motion for a public hearing on June 17th. All in favor? And carried. And I do believe we could have Councillor Graycheck come back now.
Put that to a vote, sir.
Thank you. And Councillor Graycheck has returned. Next is Parks and Pathways Amendment Bylaw 15-12. Administration, please.
Yes, Your Worship. In 2014, Council passed the Parks and Pathways bylaw. At that time, included in the bylaw was restriction for disc golf in public parks. Because we are installing disc golf in our public parks as we speak, administration is bringing forward a bylaw to remove that from the bylaw. So as you can see in the attached bylaw, we're just removing disc golf, but we're still restricting lawn darts and horseshoes. Any questions?
We'll entertain a motion.
Worship, I move that council give first reading to bylaw 15-12, Parks and Pathways Amendment Bylaw.
We have first reading in regards to bylaw 15-12. All in favor? Carried.
Your worship, I move that council give second reading to bylaw number 15-12, Parks and Pathways Amended Bylaw.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried.
Your Worship, I move that council give unanimous consent to a third reading of bylaw number 15-12, Parks and Pathways Amendment Bylaw.
All in favor? And carried. We'll take another one.
Your Worship, I move that council give third and final reading to bylaw number 15-12, Parks and Pathways Amendment Bylaw.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? And carried. And thank you. New business, 8.1, electricity and natural gas report from corporate services. Mr. Teedy, how are you this evening?
Very well, thank you.
Good evening,
Good evening, Your Worship, Council. The town entered into supply agreements for the purchase of electricity and natural gas to start at the beginning of 2014. At the time, we estimated that there would be savings in the area of $334,000 by entering into the supply agreement. A 54% saving on the purchase of natural gas commodity and a $34.90 megawatt hour savings on electricity were realized over the prior purchase arrangements through AUMA. The total cost of electricity and natural gas in 2013 was just over $1.5 million. For 2014, the cost was $1,092,000. This is a reduction on the cost of the commodity only. The transmission, distribution, and other charges on a bill remained the same or increased as authorized by the regulating authority. The town facilities with the highest annual electrical use: road lighting, $405,000; sanitary sewer plant and lift stations, $170,000; family center, $114,000; and water distribution, $66,000. And those are actual numbers from last year's accounting records. The town facilities that have the highest annual natural gas usage: aquatic center, $64,000; family center, $35,000; sanitary sewer plant, $23,000; and civic center, $20,000.
Any questions?
Comments? Reference to this report.
Councillor Sobel?
Well, just a comment, I guess, Your Worship. Thank you, Mel, for this. Certainly a good news story. I'm just always amazed. You know, this is my 8th year on council, I think, or 7th or whatever, and I periodically and fairly frequently there were suggestions brought up by administration, and I don't think you guys get the acknowledgement that you deserve in there, because you really are trying to do things for the betterment of the town. And this is a real good example. I mean, this is serious money. $439,000 equals 4%, 4.5% on our tax rate. It's a substantial saving. So I just want to recommend you and the rest of administration for your constant focus on doing what's best for the town. And thank you for this.
Here's your-
That's all. Good.
I would move the council accept this report. That's good for them.
We have a motion to accept the report as information. All in favor? Carried.
Thanks, Bill.
And thank you very much for your hard work. Next item on our agenda is 8.2, 1 pickup truck for the fire department. And
Your worship, could I move one item up for Gord to talk about Lakeside?
do we need a motion to do that? I'm quite willing to do it.
Go for it.
Go for it then. Which one are you moving up?
8.1.
Oh, it's
Who's
the
the
8.11 or
8.1.
8.12?
8.11.
8.11.
Good evening, Your Worship.
Good evening.
Members of Council, Gord Lowenthal, I'm the Director of Engineering, and I have a brief report with regards to the Lakeside 4th Avenue Storm Sewer project that's currently underway and a scope change that we'd like you to be aware of and a decision on our recommendation. As you're aware, we currently are under construction of the Lakeside Boulevard and 4th Avenue project, which includes replacement of the existing underground utilities, sewer, water, and storm mains, and rebuilding the roadway. The original project was planned in 2014. However, the project was placed on hold due to a high cost when tendered, and that cost was came in at over $6 million. The project was then reapproved for construction in 2015 at an approved estimated cost of $3.45 million. For the storm sewer, the project included replacement only of the existing aged storm sewer. So there isn't a complete storm sewer infrastructure in the downtown area, and there was no provision included in the original design for a storm sewer capacity increase in that area. That really is the summary of the existing storm sewer in the downtown area. There is actually very limited existing storm sewer infrastructure in the downtown area. Without storm sewers, redevelopment requires managing of water on site through the use of things like rain gardens, bioswales, or other surface storage. These are expensive and difficult to manage and are potentially a barrier to mixed-use development in the downtown area. I provided some options for what we could do with the existing construction that's currently underway. First option is essentially continue on with the existing design and construction. That would essentially replace the existing storm sewer that's there, but would not provide any additional capacity for either managing storm water runoff, surface runoff, or for development. Option 2 would be to do a small upsize of our existing storm sewer. We did find in the design that there was some constraints within the existing capacity from what we actually anticipated in our design that could be managed within the contingency of our existing construction budget. Option 3 would be actually improving the capacity within Lakeside Boulevard. Essentially, that would provide for future design of storm sewers, particularly along the avenues, 6th and 5th Avenue potentially, and further into the downtown in the future. Option 3 would be likely at a cost of about $175,000 as an additional scope. And option 4 would be to upsize the mains in the existing Lakeside Boulevard, as well as including upsizing and extending the storm sewer within the 4th Avenue construction project. Option 4 provides for a much better opportunity for future storm sewer extensions, particularly 5th and 6th Avenues would also provide a potential opportunity for extension of storm sewers in the downtown area that may connect to 4th Avenue and would allow for any redevelopment connection to storm sewers along 4th Avenue. And our recommendation is to accept option 4. The cost estimate that we have for that is $275,000, and that would be an increase in scope to our existing project. I'm happy to take any questions.
We're good. Councillor Graychuk.
Would this satisfy two things, two-point question? Any WID concerns as far as stormwater is concerned? And secondly, would this also satisfy our planning and development of stormwater disposal with the whole area?
I'll answer the second question first because that's easier. No, it's not a complete design. So this is really just a design that includes capacity within the limits of the construction that we currently have. So it upsizes the mains within Lakeside Boulevard, which would be essentially the main carrier for the storm sewer that's essentially on the east side of downtown. Drainage really flows down towards Kinsman Park in that particular area. So this would be upsizing of the capacity for all the future in that area, but it does not include all the design or all the costs for complete storm sewer in the downtown. Does that answer that part of the question?
Yeah.
And first question you asked me is there any concerns with WID? Complicated question. Not sure how much information. I would say that the short answer to that is that we don't anticipate there's any concern with the WID. We're essentially maintaining our existing pre-development runoff flows. That's how our development is managed. Having a storm sewer allows us to have options for how that water is managed. Not all of it has to be kept on the site. You can have controlled releases and other things like that, which developers then can use as options.
Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Blockman.
Thank you, Your Worship. Can you condense the difference between option 3 and option 4?
Yeah, really the difference between option 3 just includes the potential to provide storm sewer expansion along 4th, 5th, and 6th. The extension of the storm sewer, we actually are working in 4th Avenue, so extending storm sewer capacity in 4th Avenue is really the difference. So the change there is about $100,000 for the storm sewer expansion in 4th Avenue. That's really the difference.
Councillor Fuel.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a couple of questions, 3 questions actually. The first one's probably not directed to you, Gord, but I'm wondering where the additional dollars would come from as far as the scope project or the scope of the project being changed.
You've got part of it.
Yeah, so there probably are some options.
Okay.
So part of the answer to that question could be that development could potentially be asked to contribute to part of the costs, although that's not part of the presentation that I'm making. That could be part of it. The second part would be as part of our economic project approval being substantially less than was originally. We actually had potentially room in the budget, so that would be going over budget, but well within kind of the original scope that we had. So those would be 2 options.
Okay, thank you. So if we approve this, I'm assuming that the 4th option is probably the best as far as downtown development for the future, as far as stormwater management. I'm wondering then, as part of this, if we do approve this, would we then immediately direct or request administration to look into the development levies to help with this as new development occurs?
I'd call on Linda. We talked about it ahead of time.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Worship. What we've been talking about is we're in the process of revising our utilities bylaw. I do have a meeting with our legal counsel tomorrow, so we'd like to possibly propose a service connection fee to the storm sewer to recapture some of the costs.
So would that be for existing businesses then, or just new ones?
It would be new development.
Okay, thank you. That's all, Your Worship.
Councillor Peterson.
I was wondering if there are any concerns with regards to further environmental complications in Kingston Lake.
The construction that we proposed would actually include increasing the size of the outfall to the park. The outfall into the lake actually would not be touched, so we would not be looking for environmental approvals or any concerns about that. it's stormwater that would be discharging at this point.
So the greater capacity could almost benefit it, potentially. Hard to say.
Not sure that I can answer that.
Well, if I may, Your Worship,
Councilor Sobel
Go
first.
ahead, while we're on the subject. Go ahead.
my understanding is this, it either goes underground or it goes over top of the ground into the lake, either one or the other.
The main advantage of managing with the storm sewer is there is some potential ability to control the the discharge rate. So that's the advantage. You have some control.
Councilor Sobel.
Thank you. I'm not sure if you have the answer to this, but obviously this was a miss. Somebody missed this somewhere along the road. Was this a matter of people not realizing that there was no stormwater system in underneath that road?
Through the chair, Councilor Sobel. I think that really the issue is probably more about managing scope from a cost perspective. So the original project was very expensive, even to the point that it was actually deferred. And so, there was no intention at the time to include extra scope into the project.
And that extra scope being what
Just to upsize the sewer.
to upsize
And extend down forth.
and extend down forth. So what was the original size of the?
Well,
you know?
it varies.
Okay.
So just off the top of my head, approximately 375 millimeters would be kind of a main size, up to about 750 millimeters. And we have one pipe that's very large, probably 900 millimeters for short distance. So they're very large pipes.
Okay. So are they all going? Are they still going to be various sizes, or are they all going large?
No, they're various sizes based on the flow rates that are designed. So we did a design based on the facilities along Lakeshore that we would be potentially tying into in those catchment areas.
Are you aware of why that wasn't done in the original?
I think really the answer about cost, I think that was the primary driver around not including the storm in the design.
They were just going to leave the pipes as they were.
Yeah, and they were, they're still fairly substantial. They're just not designed to extend storm into all of those areas.
Thank you.
No further questions? I'll entertain a motion, please.
Your worship, I just have one question.
By all means, please.
When we make this motion, or if we make the motion that's recommended, do we also include where the finances come from? Okay, your worship, I would move that the upsized and expanded stormwater infrastructure option number 4 be included as a scope change to the project at an increased project cost of $275,000 to be gotten from stabilization fund, financial stabilization fund.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there any discussion?
Good thing Mel did that contract.
All right. All right. All in favor? Carried. And thank you.
Thanks, Gordon.
Are we down to 8.2 now? Okay, thank you. Deputy CAO, Ms. Nelson.
Your worship, this was an item that was discussed at the spring workshop, and administration was asked to bring forward a recommendation to replace the 3/4-ton Chevrolet 4x4 pickup, which is our primary wild land fighting apparatus at the moment. And it is not, it is undersized for the task that it is required to do. So we are asking that council approve the purchase of a 1-ton 4x4 pickup truck with costs not to exceed $55,000 plus GST, with funding from the Fire Department Capital Reserve.
Any questions?
I would move the recommendation, Your Worship.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor to accept the recommendation in regards to purchasing the 1-ton 4x4 pickup truck? Any discussion? Seeing none?
I'd just like to say, Your Worship, that this was something that has been delayed in past budget because of other priorities that they had, and so the money is with the fire department. It's something that they've made a wonderful case for needing, and I thank our deputy CEO for making it. And I support fully their need to have this.
Seeing none, all in favor? And carried.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Development permit 15G055, planning and development. And Mr. Fisher.
We may have to regroup this. Good evening, Your Worship, members of council. This is a development permit application that has been brought before you for approval because the new land use bylaw limits the ability of the development officer to grant variances. The maximum variances we can grant is to a maximum of 25%. That's a change from the old bylaw. So anytime we go over 25%, we're compelled to go to council, as well as notify either through newspaper or posting the site or by letter, in this case by letter, the adjacent property owners. So before I get too far into it, I would like to acknowledge that the architect, the applicant, Marion Lipnick, is in the audience today, and Kevin Whitty, and sorry? Ron Whitty. And they, Mr. Whitty and Pat and Vicki Rempel submitted letters that you have before you. So, as I mentioned, this is before council because the magnitude of the relaxations. And so I'll just talk a little bit about the development. It's at the corner of 5th Avenue and Lakeside Boulevard. It consists of 3 25-foot lots that are 130 feet deep. The site is zoned R3 in the land use bylaw, apartment high density, or R3 high density residential district. And it's the Kinsman Park across the street is zoned P1, but the surrounding lands are all zoned R3 as well. And Lakeside Boulevard is classified as a collector road. The apartment is considered a 3.5-story building because the ceiling of the first floor is approximately 1.2 meters above grade. So it's pushed into the ground a little bit like a bi-level. And the highest point of the building is 13.25 meters above grade. The maximum allowable in the district is 14 meters, so it complies with the height requirements. The development complies with the off-street parking requirements in the land use bylaw. Apartments require 1 parking stall per dwelling unit, and 13 off-street parking stalls are provided, recognizing that there's one for visitors as well. I think that shows it as well as any of the drawings. There, that's the site plan. So there's 13 parking stalls for the 12 units and fully complies with the bylaw, actually exceeds the bylaw requirement. Getting into the specific issues, there are a number of relaxations required. The first one deals with lot width and area. And our bylaw requires a minimum width of 100 feet and a minimum depth of 100 feet. In other words, about 10,000 square feet in minimum area. This lot is 75 feet wide, which is in effect, 75% of the requirement. In an infill situation, requiring a lot width of at least 100 feet can be a real impediment to development, recognizing that our bylaw, an apartment by definition, is 3 or more dwelling units in a building with a shared entrance. So by making it a minimum 100-foot width, we're forcing land assembly, we're forcing larger buildings, and the larger the land assembly, the larger the building, and likely the more incompatible it will be with the adjacent development. So we're saying we think that a relaxation of the lot width and area is warranted for 3 reasons outlined on page 2 of the report. The minimum lot width and area exceed the normal requirements for a small apartment building. Smaller apartments are commonly built on lots with a width in the range of 50 feet to 75 feet. At this location, there is no opportunity to assemble more land, and a larger site warrants a larger apartment, which in turn may make it less compatible with the adjoining developments on a smaller site and a smaller building. The next issue is the maximum allowable density. This district limits the density to 100 units per hectare, which is 40 units per acre. That works really, really well for 3-story buildings, but not so much for 4-story buildings. As a matter of fact, if we chopped off the 4th floor on this building, we would have 99 units per hectare, which is pretty much what you would expect given how things work out when you build an apartment and require parking and landscaping. We think that small 3-story apartments are often built at a density in the range of 100 to 110 units per hectare, but the minute that you go to 4 stories, you get a correspondingly higher density. So if we want higher density in our downtown, like if we want the density that the height allows, then I think we've got to match those requirements. The next consideration is the minimum front setback. The building is as proposed, is 10 feet from the front property line. And although our downtown overlay district talks about increasing density and whatnot, it says in the case of a standalone residential use that it should comply with the underlying district. I'll be blunt about this. We can't have it both ways. If we want redevelopment in the downtown, we've got to allow some relaxations of the front yard. I don't know any community that's been successful in doing that. I don't think it can be done. I don't think you can push them back, the 20 feet and then meet all the other requirements. There is oddly, the downtown overlay district, in the case of a mixed-use development, is quite prepared to grant a relaxation down to in the range of 0 to 18 feet, but not for an apartment building. So I'm not sure the rationale or the consistency of that. I think that from a design, character, and appearance perspective, I think this makes a lot of sense. Perhaps the key issue here is the setback from 5th Avenue, which is a side yard, as well as the setback from the side property line. Again, a relaxation from the street side from 10 feet to something less is reasonable to enable redevelopment in a downtown. For example, we require a 3-meter, 10-foot side yard in the new subdivisions. And so if somebody wants to build a duplex, you need more than a 50-foot lot in a new subdivision. But if we're going to allow redevelopment in the downtown, then we have to allow a lesser side yard. Otherwise, you could never build in the downtown a duplex on a 50-foot lot. And so we are supporting that. The other then issue is the side yard on the side shared with the adjoining residential development. And this is a bit, well, there's a couple of considerations that I've outlined on page 3. Under the previous bylaw, the setback was 5 feet regardless of the height of the building. The new bylaw changed that to 1 meter, and I think we treated that as a typo or as a mistake, and we changed that quite recently to read 3 meters if the building is greater than 9 meters at the eave line. Now this building is slightly greater than 9 meters at the eave line. And so we're supporting a relaxation from 3 meters down to 1.829 meters, which is about 6 feet. And for the reasons outlined on page 55 of the agenda package. As a general rule, the 3-meter setback is reasonable and appropriate per 4-story apartments. If you have a series of apartments side by side, it will provide some separation between them. It enables vehicular access to the rear of the property where there's no lane, and it can also provide needed space for stormwater and or landscaping. In this particular case, the development to the south, the adjoining development, is a much lower building. It's I would say it's probably in the order of 7 meters, 22, 23 feet high. And so the rationale for the separation, although it's now in the bylaw, is not there. We've also, as noted, the old bylaw required 1.5 meters, and this project was conceived during a period of time when we're still operating under, or had recently switched to the new bylaw. So we're trying to look at this as perhaps a grandfather situation. And I think perhaps the key reason is that this building is to the north of the existing residential development. And so from a sunlight and shadow impact, I mean, recognizing that the sun rises in the east and comes around the south and sets in the west, any shadow that this building projects will be projected onto Fifth Avenue and not onto the residential property to the south. Everybody, I see some puzzled faces. Are we on the same page there? So those are some of the considerations. The policy considerations and the Downtown Design Review Committee, just note that the municipal development plan supports downtown redevelopment, intensification, and the intent of the downtown overlay district is to support such development and redevelopment. The proposed development was reviewed by the Downtown Design Review Committee on March 17th, and the committee approved/supported the project. Copy of the attached letter was sent to adjacent landowners advising them that the development permit for 12-unit apartment will be considered by council on May 20th. We realized we didn't provide a lot of advance notice, but we did write letters, and we received 2 responses that I will just briefly address. I think council has them.
Excuse me, Your Worship, I don't have a copy of the second letter. I have a copy of the letter from Pat Rempel, but that's the only one I have. Does anybody else?
Nope, I'm okay.
Thank you.
If I may, Your Worship?
Please.
And with all your, thank you for your explanation. With all you explained so far, and then correct me if I'm wrong here, of course, it seems to me that you're substantially changing the zoning. And wouldn't this, or the use of the zoning, sir, let me rephrase that.
No, the use is a permitted use. Apartments are
No, but you're
permitted.
increasing the density tremendously, are you not? I'm taking that
I'm
on the square footage basis.
actually, no, I would respectfully disagree.
My point being is, why wouldn't this go to a public hearing?
There's no requirement for a public hearing. We're not changing the zoning. This is a development permit application.
I realize
The
that.
only reason it's before council is the development officer is limited in his ability to grant a 25% relaxation. And in some of these cases, it's 25% and a bit.
Okay, continue.
So, and I'm just going to read these letters out and maybe briefly comment on them because these were some of the concerns that we looked at when we reviewed this matter and discussed this matter in the first place. The Rempel letter says, my concerns are as follows. The added height of this new project no way follows with homes already on this part of Lakeside Boulevard, and in my opinion will be out of place and not enhance the road frontage view of my property. There's no question that this will be an abrupt transition from much lower to a much higher building. But it is zoned R3. The maximum height is 14 meters. This is less. We're going to run into this situation sooner or later if we in fact want to promote higher density development in our downtown. And I think that this may I will go so far as to say this may be viewed by some people as an eyesore in the interim, but somewhere along the line in the downtown, you have to establish some perimeter, some borders, some boundary, some limit, and I think this would be instrumental in doing that. And certainly with the lower rise buildings surrounding it, there will be an abrupt transition. But I fail to understand how we can ever get around that. And if not here, then where would be somewhat at the risk of being rhetorical. The next point talks about 12 added units and at least as many vehicles, realistically closer to 6 to 18. Increased stress on the rear lane, which is already in poor shape. And there's already been impacts to the lane from condos to the west, garbage pickup, and so on and so forth. We recognize that. I think this is perhaps a broader policy consideration for council.
The lane?
Yeah. Do we tell developers when they redevelop, whether they're developing a fourplex or an apartment building, that they pave the lane from some point to where it connects? And that sometimes doesn't work too well because then you're disrupting drainage because you're putting a lift of asphalt on a road that, in part, and then I guess that I'm simply going to suggest that it is what it is for the time being. I don't know how we deal with that. Roadside parking will increase dramatically with the added vehicles and, of course, their guests. Acknowledged. But as indicated, there is policy support for intensification in the downtown. It's a collector road. Being a corner site, I mean, we had looked at doing a series of townhouses with front driveways, and that would have eliminated all the on-street parking. This keeps all the on-street parking because the access is off the lane, and so they meet the bylaw requirements on site, and then there's room for visitor parking on the street. And they would prefer to see a 4 or 6-plex upscale, trendy single-story units blending in and complementing the area. Acknowledge that would certainly be more in keeping with the immediate streetscape, but again, the apartment is a permitted use, and we believe that council was supportive of going in that direction. The second letter from Kevin Whitty, and I spoke to Mr. Whitty this afternoon. At some length. He requested that this decision be delayed at the town council until we have further time to go over what is happening. Have great concerns for the parking coming right up to my property and no barrier between this complex and my yard. Please email me back with the requested information, et cetera, et cetera. So key concern was the limited opportunity to respond. That's acknowledged, but we're looking for feedback. This matter is still appealable to the Subdivision Development Appeal Board, as would be any decision of the development officer. We confirm that there will be a 2-meter high opaque privacy fence along the property line from the front face of the apartment building to the rear lane. We didn't stipulate that initially as a requirement because there's sometimes if you make.
Can I just ask for clarification?
Yes.
So where is, I guess it would help if I knew where Mr. Whitty lived.
Oh, yeah, so Mr. Whitty lives, well, I think Mr. Whitty lives in Chestermere, but and owns the property, but I think his parents live at 620. Is that correct? Yeah.
So that's on the south side.
On the south edge of that apartment.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the first unit of the 3-unit townhouse that's next door.
So this wall, where is the wall?
Well, there's no wall there. We were proposing a 2-meter high fence along the property line to provide privacy between the 2 units, like along,
Okay.
in other words, along the north is to the bottom of this drawing, so along the top. Now, the applicant is prepared to increase the setback between the side property line and the face of the building. And unfortunately, that has the effect of pushing the building even closer to Fifth Avenue. I'm not comfortable pushing it. I'm not comfortable having a full 10-foot setback between the property line to the south and the face of the building, and then having about 3 feet from the face of the building to the property line along Fifth Avenue. We do have to get the storm drainage from the back of the building to the front so that it can drain to the catch basin and get into to Lakeside Boulevard. Now, a related concern is that there is, and if I can just maybe, there is, so those of you who haven't seen it, so this is where the adjoining residential is up here. And there is an entrance right there, but that entrance is actually an exit to the building. The main entrance to the building is via this ramp. Oh, shoot, right there. There's also a front entrance to the building.
So what is the distance from between?
Well,
the two?
from the face of the building to the property line, to the adjacent residential property is 1.829 meters, which I'm going to say is 6 feet. Very, very close to it. And then from the face of the building to the property line along Fifth Avenue is 7 feet. So I think we could.
From the sidewalk to the building?
No, from the property, from the property line. From
Property line
yeah.
to the street. Okay.
I'm going to say that property line is very, very close to the back of sidewalk, but not exactly at the back of sidewalk, based on that drawing.
Moving the building, if I may, Your Worship.
Yes.
Moving the building closer to Fifth Avenue would also possibly decrease the visual when you come to the stop sign to go on Lakeside Boulevard. Wouldn't it could cause an issue?
I think that the spruce trees do a pretty good job at the moment. The corner visibility triangle is shown there. It's not exactly as it is in our bylaw because our bylaw measures it. It looks at a suburban location rather than a traditional location. I don't think that may not be crucial, but it's certainly going to pull that building closer to the street. And so I think I'd be comfortable with a foot, like 7 feet from the residential property and 6 feet to Fifth Avenue, but I wouldn't want to go less than that because we still have to get that storm drainage there. The alternative is, and this is blunt, but it's redesign of the building. But I don't think that 10 feet is warranted in this particular case. Recognizing it was planning department that came up with the 10 feet in the first place. So, to conclude this, we certainly will require a 2-meter fence, opaque privacy fence from the front face of the building to the rear property line, along the property line shared with the adjoining residential development. And we support the approval of the development permit application with the relaxations as noted, recognizing two key things. The existing land use designation / zoning is R3 high density residential. And I understand people not liking the building being that close, or there's some discomfort there, but the test for the relaxations under the Municipal Government Act and the Land Use Bylaw is, in our opinion, the staff granting the relaxations will not unduly fear with the amenities of the neighborhood or materially interfere with or affect the use, enjoyment, or value of neighboring parcels of land. Those are the three or four considerations. That's, needless to say, our opinion, but it matters before council is development authority. So the draft development permit is shown on page 57, and if council supports the approval, we will add the fence as a prior to release condition, opaque privacy fence 2 meters in height. We will probably drop the requirement of that amount of on-site detention now that we have support for storm sewer connection, which I think is certainly welcomed by the applicant. There's on a 75 by 130 foot lot, there's a lot of stormwater you have to detain on site, and I think we will still try and do some of that, but any surplus water will go to the storm sewer, which will benefit the property. There is a high water table in that area, and I don't know, I think adding a rain garden to an area that has a water table at one point that's about 4 feet, 5 feet down entail some risks.
Counselor?
You may not be happy about the hookup charge though. What about that?
Well, we've pre-serviced this property because of where it is. Like we're not running this storm sewer all the way down.
So the storm sewer only is in Lakeside Boulevard, and provision for storm sewer to be extended up there.
Oh,
Question.
Counselor Sobel?
I'm
sorry.
Are you prepared to stipulate in regards to the 7-foot setback?
I'm
So it would be 7 in the back,
well, 7 yeah,
7 on the side, and
6 on the other.
and 6
Yeah, we
On Fifth.
probably live with that.
6 on Fifth Ave.
I would say that would be just part of the resolution to approve this, is that with the amended setback.
Thank you.
Did you have something?
Yeah,
Counselor Peterson?
there's no retaining wall on the lane.
No, there won't be a
No
retaining
need.
wall, no.
And that is the entry and the exit.
Yep, yes,
That's a huge concern for me from the town perspective, because that lane is a mess. You know, Pat and Vicky Rumpel make a very good case for that it is a laneway that's used a great deal because of the way busing happens in front of the Sacred Heart and Holy Cross Collegiate. And so it's a very, very busy lane, and it's not in good shape. I know that's not your deal.
Well, I think it's cogent. I think it's relevant, and it's something that we've struggled with because looking at how that lane drains, it drains from south to north. So let's just say hypothetically we put 2 or 3 inch lift of asphalt on that lane, commencing at that property line at the top and running it to the street. That could, without paving the whole thing and giving it a V-shaped cross section, I'm afraid that 2 or 3 inch lift of asphalt at the north,
Which
at the
is
south end,
you have to do the whole lane. I think that it's hugely problematic to go ahead with this without knowing what's going to happen with that lane. And that's a big concern.
I have to agree. I'm really worried about that too.
Your Worship,
Counselor Pinchuk?
is it fair to ask administration to put this on hold and give us a price on the cost of either sharing the lane or having the developer pay for the lane, to upgrade the lane?
Sure, I guess the alternative is, if it's a permitted use and there's no relaxations, we issue it. We are required to issue the development permit. And to do an extra 3 units on a 75-foot, do an extra 3 units. I mean, 9 units would be approvable, wouldn't be before council, be no notification. We've got an extra 3 that makes that aligns with our height. I acknowledge that. I think there's issues. I don't think it's unique to this situation. I think there's that issue on Waddy Lane. There's issues, on.
Not with the traffic out here this lane. Maybe the one behind off of Second, that lane has a lot of, but it's not bad shape. But this one is not in good shape, and I know that's not a developer issue. I do have some other questions.
Counselor
Is
Peterson?
there still, do you think, adequate room for beautification development on the front end with what you saw?
Oh yeah, there's a landscaping plan. Actually, it's professional.
I saw it kind of. You just have a good perspective on that. I just wanted your.
Yeah, we tweaked a couple of things.
Yeah.
And I think the one thing that I did say, and I'll say it publicly, is I'm not anticipating a lot of trees in that 6-foot space between the face of the building and the sidewalk if we shift the building. On the other hand, I cannot guarantee, the spruce trees are there. They've been there for a long time, but let's face it, spruce trees are not good for public sidewalks. Yeah. They heave the sidewalk. So if we keep those trees there, and the developer has said that they will try to keep them, they will remain. But if the trees disappear, then we have, I think, greater opportunities to maybe plant a few more Schubert choke cherries in there, because we can't really plant big trees in there.
Mhm.
But
That's
that
what I was
might,
wondering, because those trees are going to be an impediment.
as far as the rest of it goes, like the spruce trees are all Colmar variety, and we're doing trembling aspen and Schubert choke cherries, and there's one other variety. Yeah, they all work.
In giving with our vision for higher density in downtown and affordable housing, does this fit in that category?
This is by far the best project that we've had since I've been here, or that I've seen in the last few years. I mean, it's that's the Lakeside Boulevard elevation in front of you on the screen. It may not be that bright. It's just the way the photocopier reduces colors. That's the Fifth Avenue elevation. That's the lane elevation. That's looking at it from the lane. There is a substantial courtyard in there. This is looking at it from the residential property from the south. That's a cross section. That's a streetscape there. And this is some photographs of what's in the area. And actually, this might be the most. That's placing the building in the existing streetscape.
Please.
How long is that back lane? Do you know, approximately?
I'll tell you exactly. Give you a moment. I can't tell you.
Approximately.
I'm going to say about between 200 and probably 225 feet, because I don't think the lots next door are those townhouses are on fully 25-foot lots. But I'm just counting the number of 25-foot lots. So if they're all 25-foot lots, it'd be 250. If they're a little less, it'd be somewhere in the range of 225 feet.
I would like to find out if the developer is willing to upgrade that lane if it's so important. And I don't know the lane myself.
Okay, Councillor Sobel?
Just in regards to the laneway, which I'm going to admit is my only concern at this point with this project, but it is a concern. I was wondering if I could invite anyone from administration if they have any comments in regards to that laneway.
Your Worship, I just asked Gord to try and do some rough calculations.
On what are you talking? Are you talking repavement?
Yes.
While he's redoing the calculation, the notification went out to the neighbors on May the 12th.
Yes.
I don't know how many went out. And there's only 2 responses. So my initial concern, if I can use that word.
Oh, I don't have a complete file.
My initial concern is whether or not the citizens in that area have had an opportunity to be notified and to think about it. That's.
I think we circulate it to everyone who shares this lane on this side of the block. Like we went. I think the entire frontage along Lakeside Boulevard was circulated. The properties directly behind it, and the properties directly across the street. So anybody that's using that lane was circulated, as well as across the street. Betty Ann had we looked at the map and it seemed reasonable.
Okay. Councillor Sobel?
Your Worship, I'd like to make a motion if I could. I'd like to move that we adjourn this matter for 2 weeks, I'm sorry, until the next council date, for 2 reasons: to ensure that the people in the area have an opportunity to properly digest this, and to second, to have administration return with some information pertaining to possible possible solutions to the laneway issue. And I appreciate that the laneway issue is not crucial to this, but it is a concern that I have, and obviously other councillors have got as well. So I'd like to at least get some information on that.
Okay.
You need that in writing? Have you got it?
Make a motion that we table,
Adjourn
postpone this.
the matter till the next council, postpone until the next council date.
We have a motion to postpone until the next council meeting. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? And carried. And thank you for your time.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Administration, Council Procedural Policy 1104, please.
Your Worship, at Council Workshop, Council discussed changing the order of business at a council meeting. Basically, just renaming council invitations to correspondence and council statements. This change will allow council to discuss more than just invitations at a council meeting under this heading. Administration has made an amendment, it's attached, and we are recommending that council approve the policy as amended.
No questions? I'll entertain a motion then, please.
Your Worship, I'd move that council adopt policy 1104, council procedural as amended.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. And Seniors Advisory Committee donation request.
Your Worship, Council's received a request from the Seniors Advisory Committee for a grant of $5,000 to be used towards attending conferences and holding events in Strathmore to raise awareness and to advocate for seniors. Administration is bringing this forward for Council's approval. Our recommendation is that Council grant the Seniors Advisory Committee a donation of $5,000 to be managed by the town of Strathmore and drawn from the Financial Stabilization Reserve.
Councillor Peterson?
Your Worship, I would move the council grant the Seniors Advisory Committee a donation of $5,000 to be managed by the town of Strathmore.
Are there any questions?
This is speaking to the motion. Oh,
Okay.
I don't know who to ask this question to, but I guess I would have preferred to see a budget for a period of time. I'm assuming this is, well, I don't know, but I'm assuming this is for a 1-year period. Perhaps not.
can I respond, Councilor Silver?
Sure.
The Seniors Advisory Committee has had a great deal of difficulty being able to achieve their goals without any kind of funding. And it was something that we had talked about initially. And they have a meeting planned for June the 8th, at which time I know that they will answer to the funds.
So I guess my question would be, would it not be incumbent upon us to wait until we saw, I would be more comfortable seeing something from them in regards to a budget for how long a period of time this money is supposed to, I'm not objecting to the fact that they need money. I just would like to kind of know what exactly they want it for, where it's going, and also for how long the period of time they're looking for this money for.
I think Linda could answer, but my understanding is it's for a period of 1 year. And I think Jen identified what the uses were. It is to attend the Grey Matters Conference and to have other seniors organizations come to present to them for things that they specific to the issues that they want to raise. And I believe they also wanted speakers. Yeah, those are the three things.
Thank you.
Councillor Graychuck?
Well, isn't there a key line in there to be managed by the town of Strathmore, or am I misreading that?
No, sir.
Isn't that, I mean, it's to be managed by us, so.
Not even sure what that means.
Your Worship,
we're
I
looking
think,
for the money. No?
sorry, this would be similar to the grant that we give to the communities in Bloom, where we donate a $5,000 annually to their budget, and we do manage it, so they draw upon the money as required, and it stays in a trust fund through the town. And this year, yes, they had the Gray Matters Conference. We still don't have confirmation on how many people will be attending the conference. It's in Drumheller this year. And then also there's plans to go and visit a few communities who already have existing thriving seniors committees, just to get information on how they can start up and
And I want to be clear, I support all of those endeavors. I just don't, I'm just finding myself without a lot of information as to where this money is going. And anyway, carry on.
Any further questions? Councilor Peel?
Thank you, Your Worship. I don't know if this can be answered either. It ties into Councillor Sobel, but I'm in favor of this as well, provided I know some more information. When it's mentioned to us as far as attending the Gray Matters Conference, I don't know if that means mileage or if that means reimbursement for gas or if that's motel rooms. I don't really know what it's all about. So I'm just a little concerned about that.
Councilor Peterson?
Well, I think when the town is managed, the town has discretion. Is that correct? In terms of communities in bloom, that's what you do?
Yes.
Yeah. And I've never seen a budget for communities in bloom in front of it. I don't think that it's any different. And I think that we can trust our seniors to move forward with discretion. And it's something that we should have done a year ago without being asked, because I think we've made their lives somewhat difficult on this committee. So I think we should just proceed.
Deputy Mayor Bolton?
Thank you, Your Worship. I have no problem with what they're asking for either, but we do have a donation policy in place. And if you look at the donation policy here, please describe what the funding will be used for. I don't see anything written in there.
I don't think this is a donation, this is a grant.
Up top, it says
I
committee
know.
startup seniors week conference attendance.
And it's not clear in the recommendation.
Worship,
Yes, please.
I'm hoping I can shed a little bit of light on this. This came up at council a while ago, I believe, at one of council's workshops. We spoke about granting the seniors committee funds for operating. And at that time, council, it was mentioned that the group should come to council with a donation request for a grant. So even though it's kind of on the donation grant or the donation form, these funds we're recommending come out of financial stabilization, not out of council's donation funds.
Further questions? And so each year they would come back and make a request in regards to having a grant.
Or would come through any normal budgeting process during the workshop.
Did we have a motion on the floor?
I made
Yes,
the
you made
motion.
the motion, yes.
And my last question, Your Worship.
Go ahead, Councilor Sobel.
So I assume that if we're managing this money, then at the year end, you would be getting a financial report from them.
Absolutely.
That's,
Okay, good. We have,
makes me feel a bit much better. Thank you.
So, this has been,
Please.
going to call it a grant, good,
It is a grant.
but it doesn't say that in there.
So I would ask for a friendly amendment, a grant of $5,000.
Your Worship, it may be good to mention or to include in, yes.
so the motion is that,
Council grant the Seniors Advisory Committee a grant, $5,000, that's redundant, to be managed by the town of Strathmore and that the money be taken from financial stabilization.
we have a motion on the floor. No further discussion? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Would be tough for me. Next item is Strathmore Musical Arts Society is making a request for a donation.
Your Worship, the Strathmore Musical Arts Society is requesting a monetary donation from the town of Strathmore for $500 to go towards a barn dance show featuring Tim Huss. The event will take place on July 30th, 2015 in conjunction with Heritage Days. There will be a minimal charge for people to attend the event of $25 to help cover the costs. A letter from the Musical Arts Society is attached as well as their donation request application form.
Councillor Graychuk.
Does this come under, don't we have a policy now, or did that new handbook out that we only give out so many dollars in donations? And is this, they're a nonprofit, are they?
Yes.
Your Worship, Council does have a budget line for donations. I've included in the report a spreadsheet indicating what the total amount is and what is left in the account for this year.
Any further questions? I'll accept the motion. Seeing no motion, what do we do?
I'm still looking at.
Okay, okay.
First level question.
Oh, by all means, ask questions, yes.
Thank you, Your Worship. Jen, can you help me out here on this? I'm looking on the right spot.
Yes, yep,
So what's our remaining balance? Starting
You
balance at 7,400?
that's correct.
We're
And
down to 1,400, is that
that's
right?
correct, yes.
And this is what, January 1st to December 31st? What is it?
That is correct.
So I guess we've used up our money here in the first 4 months. So what do we do for the next 8 months? I'm sure there's going to be more donations requests coming in.
There's one right after this one. Councillor Fuel.
Yes, Your Worship, I just had a question, maybe some of the other councillors know. Is there a way without adding too much of a price to their ticket that this event or this request could be cost neutral? I understand they need money to break down the overhead of it, but I'm just wondering if they could build it into their own revenue stream as far as being cost neutral. I'm not trying to tell them how to run their society, but for this event, I'm wondering if they'd be able to do that.
Your Worship, I mean,
Please.
you know, to everybody, and I've been concerned about this from some time, these community donation requests of, I think we have to take a further look at it as to who should get them and why and how much. And we just seem to be, and with no disrespect to my fellow councilors, we just seem to be historically handing it over whenever one comes in. Why we should stop at this one, I don't know. I don't think we should. But once the money's done this year, we're done. We give no more, and then revise our request program. I mean, first come, first served so far. That's what we've been doing.
So
Councillor Sobel.
Just a response to that, Councillor Graychuk. That matter is coming before the Policy Review Board. This has been discussed, and we are certainly going to be recommending some changes in regards to this policy. Administration is just now working on having that policy revised. So it is coming, and
Yeah,
for the record, I agree with you.
They're asking for a donation of 500. Doesn't mean you have to accept the total amount that they're asking for either.
Good point.
well, and I was going to move that, Your Worship, and I would move that Strathmore Musical Arts Society, that we grant Strathmore Musical Arts Society a donation of $250 to go to work at Barn Dance on July 30th, 2015. And I do that in the hopes that they can secure support from other vendors and providers that will also benefit from them having this barn dance during the Strathmore campaign.
Any discussion? No? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next is an item in regards to a donation request from Ms. Avery Biswanger. Administration, please.
Okay, council's received another donation application, this time from Ms. Avery Biswanger. She will be attending the National Canadian Girl Teen and Miss Scholarship pageant in Vancouver, BC. Fees to participate in the event are $525, and she's looking for sponsorship to cover the fees as well as hotel and travel costs. Attached in your package is a letter from Ms. Avery, as well as donation request application form, and again the donation spreadsheet.
Any questions of administration? Councillor Phil.
Thank you, Your Worship. I don't have a question, but I have a comment maybe, and that is the only concern I have with something like this is the person that we sponsor could gain something individually monetarily for his or her own purposes. So, for example, it says, if I win, I receive scholarship cash for my future. This program gives away up to $10,000 scholarship money every year. So I guess my concern with this one, it's not like the person is representing our town for strictly town purposes and to showcase this community. It's something that the person can come back with his or her own money for him or herself. So I have a little more concerns about this one because there is personal gain from it if the child wins. And, you know, just, yeah, that's my main point. Thanks, Your Worship.
Thank you. Councillor Sullivan.
It's a profit versus a non-profit or a potential profit.
Yeah.
No further questions?
Your Worship, I would move that council accept the donation application from Ms. Avery Biswanger for information purposes.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next is administration in regards to Seniors Week. And administration, please.
Your Worship, June 1st to 7th is Seniors Week in Alberta. Council has received a request from the Seniors Advisory Council for Alberta to proclaim June 1st to 7th as Seniors Week in the town of Strathmore. As you can see by the attached poster in your packages, FCSS has numerous activities planned for Seniors Week, including a seniors tea, pancake breakfast, swimming with grandparents, and picnic in the park. Those are just a few of the events that are being held. Administration is recommending that council coincide with that and proclaim June 1st to 7th as Seniors Week in Strathmore.
Any questions? I'll entertain a motion.
Councillor Graychick, do you need that read louder for you?
I would move that council proclaim, where's my favorite?
June 1st.
Proclaim June 1st to June 7th, 2015 as Seniors Week in the town of Strathmore.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Oh, there is some discussion?
I'm quite offended by that anyway. And also, I don't see in here that, you know, that yesterday was declared as across Canada's Millionaires Day. And that's not noted in here. But anyway, continue.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor. All in favor? Carried.
And thank you to FCSS for their great work.
Only he would know that.
Steve tends to ramble a little.
Next is National Fitness Day. Administration, please.
Your Worship, June 6th is National Health and Fitness Day. It is an initiative to make Canada the fittest nation on earth, starting with marking one day, the first Saturday in June, as the day when Canadians get out and get active in any way they wish. National Health and Fitness Day is designed as a cohesive response to the alarming rates of childhood obesity and the resultant diabetes, heart, and other chronic diseases. This initiative encourages local governments, non-government organizations, and the private sector, and all Canadians to recognize the first Saturday in June as National Health and Fitness Day. Administration is recommending that Council proclaim June 6th as National Health and Fitness Day in the town of Strathmore.
Your worship, with pleasure, I would move that council proclaim June 6, 2015 as National Health and Fitness Day in the town of Strathmore.
No discussion, all in favor?
I think I have a conflict.
Okay, carried. The only thing is, the other comment in regards to that, June 6th is D-Day, 1944. Fun. And 8:10, staffing request administration, please.
Your worship, administration is bringing forward a request for 2 additional staff positions within the existing organizational chart. Corporate services is asking for an additional IT technician, and planning and development are asking for a senior subdivision and development officer / planner. And both areas are, they really need the staffing. Is pretty much all I can say. We only have the 1 IT technician, and we really only have 1 senior position in planning and development, and both areas are extremely busy, and they're finding it really difficult to keep up with their daily tasks. Okay, and the combined cost for both positions would increase this year's budget by about $89,000 approximately, plus $19,650 in benefits.
Any questions of administration?
Worship, I move that council approve filling the additional IT position, technician position within the existing corporate services organizational chart.
We have a motion on the floor. The only question I have, will this be coming from financial stabilization?
Yes, your worship, it will be.
No further discussion? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. And we can go on to 8.
There's a second motion required.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you did them both at the same time. I wasn't paying attention. Sorry. Go ahead.
I'd also move the council approve filling the senior subdivision and development officer planning position within the existing planning and development organizational chart, and that the funds be drawn from the, which one?
Financial
stabilization fund.
Pretty soon that's gonna run out of money if it wants.
Yeah, I'm worried about that one. No further discussion. All in favor?
Thank you,
Carried.
your worship.
Now, thank you. And we can go on to 8.12. And administration, I think, please.
Sorry, your worship. Your worship, and council has received 2 requests from citizens who would like to sit on the Seniors Advisory Committee. The 2 requests are from Miss Darlene Balfour and Miss Alida Lesurf. They're requesting to be appointed to the committee for a term of 1 year. As our terms run from October to October, this appointment, if made, would be made only till October 31st, and it would come back at that time for reappointment.
Any questions of administration? I'll accept a motion, please.
Your worship, I move with great pleasure for council to appoint Ms. Darlene Polly Balfour and Ms. Alida Lesurf to the Seniors Advisory Committee for 1 term beginning immediately and ending October 31st, 2015.
Any discussion? Seeing none? Oh, is there discussion? No? No? All in favor?
Oh, discussion.
Oh, well, okay. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Thank you, your worship. Councillor Peterson, we had this discussion last week, and I'm just wondering if things are improving internally on this committee?
You know, I think that our seniors committee had expressed some distress over struggling to find direction and to get their feet under them. And they had, some of their committee members had some issues which required resignation. And one of the things that happened Our deputy CAO met with leadership within that committee, and with Catherine Welsh's help, I think that they've come up with some very, very good direction for the future. Linda may want to speak further to that, but I think that they're feeling full of hope and confidence and ready to move forward. They have lots of good ideas.
Thank you.
No further discussion?
Not for me.
Okay. All in favor? And carried. Thank you. Next item is questions between councillors, and the only one we have is Councillor Fuel. Oh, do you? Okay. We have two.
Mine are quick. Two questions, Your Worship, through the chair to admin. One deals with the electronic town sign on the highway, that it's not working correctly. Have you heard that? I've had it mentioned to me before in the last little while, so if we can check on that. And the other one was a concern expressed by a resident as far as the graffiti bylaw, where they happen to have a fence that borders a green space with a walking path, and they've been told by the bylaw officer that according to the bylaw, they're responsible for it, so there's some concerns about that. I'm not sure if there's much we can do about it, but I did promise I'd bring it forward. Is that something that you just generally have to repaint as soon as your fence has been hit? So the onus is on the landowner?
Yes, the landowner has to take care of it. We've had a few businesses complaining about it, and one of them was in this morning, quite strong about it, but at least they're going to do it. Matter of fact, they were going to do part of it today, the doors today. Tomorrow they're going to get the graffiti off.
And I guess
it's been hit a few times in the downtown recently.
And I guess a question to Councillor Sobel, because of your police experience, it's typically been proven or mentioned by the police services that the best way to deal with graffiti is to paint it over as quickly as possible,
Right.
to not let it sit and be a statement.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Your Worship, another thing, we're asking the RCMP to at least go down once or twice a night, drive down the back alleys and see if there's kids hanging out there or whatever. Yes, I guess another thing, one of the businesses told us probably a year or two ago that they wouldn't sell any spray paint to anybody under the age of 18. And we're going to send a letter to a couple of other businesses that sell spray paint, see if they'll do the same thing. Then it'd be a lot harder for them to get it locally.
Okay, good. Go ahead, Deputy Mayor Bluffman.
Thank you, Your Worship. The last couple of weeks, our bylaw enforcement officers have been doing a pretty good job on cleanup orders. And then lo and behold, I was laughing because my back was clean, but lo and behold, the artists went at it Friday night and they just about covered the downtown. So I guess we all got to clean up again.
Your Worship, yes, we heard that, and I don't know. Somehow, how do you stop them right now?
Not
So we're
only,
hoping with RCMP's help, maybe we can try and do something.
not only walls and businesses, but H&H Huckstead's bins are all covered.
Councillor Peterson?
I have a-
Oh, I thought
Oh,
you
the
did. I'm sorry.
question. Oh, I thought
Yeah.
you meant with related
No,
to this
no,
issue.
no.
I know that once before, and this comes as a result of talking about stormwater into Kinsman Lake and the issues that we've talked about before. I was wondering if we could explore STEM research capstone projects with the University of Calgary. I wonder if we could actively explore that. I understand that there's lots of interest at the University of Calgary for their students to undertake these projects. And it would be really useful for us if we could pose appropriate questions to our Parks and Rec department and have a capstone project that related to discovering what creates.
Yes, we'll talk to Parks Department as well as engineering about it. See if we can get something happening.
Thank you.
Well, as a follow-up to that, what about Olds College? They were once working on it.
They were working a couple of years ago. But anyway, the fellow that was heading it up. Dr. A, anyway, he went off overseas on a sabbatical, and there's been nothing happening since.
Capstone projects are a little bit different because they have directed funding and.
Yeah.
And their partnership, guided partnership.
We'll talk to him tomorrow.
Should we talk to both, or
Pardon me?
could we phone Olds to see if they're still interested, or?
Yeah, we can talk to him again. They haven't shown hardly any interest. We can follow up.
Thank you.
Look up skin.
Is there anything further that we need to bring forward? Because if we don't, we will go back in camera.
Did Councillor Fuel talk about a sign?
Yes.
You did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Nothing further? Nothing further? No. I'll entertain a motion to go in camera, please.
So move.
All in favor? Carried. And thank you very much for your patience.